It's time for today's travel and cruise industry news. With the latest from travel and cruises around the world, here's your host, Chillie Falls.
Hey, good morning and welcome to Travel and Cruise Industry Podcast. On this, the 19th November 2025, coming to you from my studio in Forest, Virginia, outside of Lynchburg. Today's show, of course, is brought to you by Will U.S., the owner of Scoot Around, and by chilliescruises. We've got a number of stories this morning, plus a couple things to share with you. So first, let's go over the headlines today. The lead story this morning is a fire destroys a popular dining spot. Also today, a suspect in the Kepner death, that of course was on a Carnival ship last week. Carnival Horizon cancels Grand Cayman. Also today, Bagels at sea. The American pioneer Christened. A former Carnival ship sold to a Chinese company. Regal Princess changes itinerary. Brilliance changes mid-cruise. The FAA restores normal operations. A Malaysian passenger convicted of abusing a child on Icon. And a Queen Mary passenger stopped by police. That and lots more here at 11 o'clock this morning. Today is National Carbonated Beverage Day. Technically, it's Carbonated Beverage with Caffeine Day. Excuse me. So all you guys out there that drink, notice got a frog in my throat. Wow. All right, let's try that again. Sorry about that. Wow, that was from medicine, folks. That's not me being sick or anything. All right, so where was I here? Oh, yeah, we were still down here. A Malaysian passenger convicted of abusing a child on Icon, and a Queen Mary 2 passenger stopped by police. I think I got through that. Today is here's where I was. Today is National Carbonated Beverage with Caffeine. Now, you guys know I drink Diet Coke. That doesn't count. So somebody drink just a straight Coca-Cola today. That would count. Carbonated beverage with caffeine. And there's a number of other carbonated beverages with caffeine as well. This day in history, in 1805, Meriwether Lewis and William Clark reached the Pacific Ocean, becoming the first Europeans to cross the country from the west. All right. I saw where Hot Air Tom was the first one in the house this morning. Hot Air Tom is down there in Aruba today. We got a couple things to discuss with that. And one that I'm not completely sure about, and I'll back off of this if necessary, if you can't hear it. I was having trouble with downloading the video from Tom And let's see if this comes through.
So we're entering Aruba. We have the water spray going on since this is our inaugural visit. We're in the grand dining room. This is a view out the back windows. It came along
All right, if you couldn't hear that, folks, because it's very faint in the background, that was from the main dining room. And it was as they were sailing into Aruba this morning, since it's the first time the ship's been there, they did the whole thing with the shooting off the fire cannon business. And that was actually sailing past one of the water cannons, not fire cannons, one of the water cannons. So that's as they were going into Aruba this morning. A hot air time will be on a submarine later on today from Aruba. Now, let's see. This adds on to his take on the cabin yesterday on the Oceania Allura. This is the refrigerator from his room. Notice it's stocked with cans of drinks, some wine. You don't have to pay for it. I mean, that's part of the fare. It's what's, so he can drink out of there. We've been on ships before where if you even move a can, you get charged for it. But anyway, that's the refrigerator in his room. The other thing that's really interesting about Oceania, and you have to figure this into when you're looking at the price of a cruise, folks, specialty dining. They went to the seafood restaurant. I'm not familiar enough with the Oceania's names. He had scallops. Cindy had risotto. That's all included. There's no additional charge for specialty dining. And then, of course, Tom has a collection of ships. He did get the model of the ship on the Oceania Allura, and his waiter came by and said, "Oh, by the way," he says, "my contract ends in January. I'll be happy to go to work for you on your ship." So that's the ship model. Now, let's see, what else do I have here? I have a couple other things. This was during the day yesterday. They did a Belvedere vodka tasting. And this is the Mr. Vodka. I don't know what it's, different, fancy bottle. I bet that sucker's expensive. Belvedere vodka, which is good vodka, in a bottle like that. Oh, yeah, you're going to pay for that. Now, I've never done a vodka tasting because, I'm not a huge vodka drinker. I'll have a drink of vodka, but, I'm a bourbon guy. So anyway, that was hot air Tom drinking vodka. He and Cindy both drinking vodka. All right, so, and I'll be perfectly honest about this one, folks. This was from back when I was sick, or one of the times I fell, and I didn't miss out on this. Getting on a Buddha airplane in Kathmandu, Nepal, and flying over Mount Everest. So, when issue was in Nepal, and we know that Mount Everest there, I didn't realize that she had been in a small plane and flew over Mount Everest. The other one I found interesting, folks, from things that were shared overnight, comes from our friend Sandy, which of course is Corey Lee, Curb Free with Corey, Corey's mother. Now, this is a picture looking back at from the water to the sand, and that is Corey's wheelchair sitting there in between those two huts, and it is empty. And here's what My Sandy Trail posted about this. Seeing my son's empty wheelchair sitting on a beach gives me the best feeling in the world. When I first saw it, I panicked, thinking, my goodness, where's Corey? This means he was able to get into the water and isn't stuck sitting there watching everyone else have fun. He's out in the ocean, feeling the water lap across his arms and legs. He's floating in the waves and not fighting against his lack of strength to move his arms or swing his legs. Water's amazing, folks. Way too many times he's not been able to get close enough to the water to be carried in, and he admirably sits and watches everyone else enjoy the ocean water. But not this time, not this week. The sand is very hard packed at the beach here at Hilton Moorea Resort and Spa, and it's a short distance to the water. The water is very close. So thankful for these moments. Thankful for he is out there living life and seizing the day, floating in the turquoise waters of Moorea. And of course, that's in French Polynesia. And congratulations to both to Sandy for posting this and to Corey for being able to get in the water out there. That's awesome. And of course, I've said many times before, in my condition, which is nowhere near what Corey's is. I'm not trying to compare apples to apples, but I get in water and I'm good for hours, which I can't even stand for 2 minutes. But I can spend an hour in the water, treading water, or longer. So anyway, that's just a few sidelines. All right. We've got a whole bunch of news stories today, but first let's pause 1 second for a break from one of our fine network sponsors. Don't go away. I'll be right back. All right, so we're going to start off today from over in Nassau. Nestor, are you still in Nassau?
A massive fire swept through Arawak K's Fish Fry in Nassau, destroying Goldie's Conch House and several neighboring restaurants, leaving the complex completely damaged. The fire started at Goldie's and spread rapidly through the wooden structures, consuming the renowned Conch restaurant entirely while engulfing neighboring establishments including Rake and Scrape. 6 stalls were destroyed and 2 others extensively damaged as flames tore through the area over approximately 1 hour. The cause of the fire remains under investigation, though authorities have identified the structural proximity of the buildings as a contributing factor. For cruise passengers planning Nassau port days, the loss of the Fish Fry represents a setback. Located just beyond Juncano Beach, the Fish Fry was staple for authentic Bahamian cuisine. Ever since 18-year-old Anna Kepner was found deceased on board Carnival Horizon, no one has longed for answers more than her family. A suspect has been identified in her suspicious death, who died on board Carnival Horizon in early November. According to court filings, charges may be coming against Kepner's step-sibling, who is still a minor. The investigation is still ongoing and an official cause of death has not yet been released. American Cruise Lines has christened the new American Pioneer in Key West, Florida. The ship is the 21st in the company's fleet. We are thrilled to christen another new ship here in Key West, and we are especially honored to be joined by American Pioneer's godmother, Mayor Henriquez, along with many of our inaugural cruise guests, said Charles B. Robertson, President and CEO of American Cruise Lines. After returning to Port Miami more than 8 hours later than anticipated on Sunday, November 16, Carnival Horizon has set sail on her next sailing, but not without adjustments. Horizon continues to sail slowly and her visit to Grand Cayman has been cancelled to compensate. Repairs are underway, but it is not possible to maintain the original itinerary for the 6-night cruise. There is no confirmation about any additional sailings or if more adjustments may still be necessary. From attending an exclusive jazz concert in New Orleans to sampling world-famous barbecue in Memphis or visiting you can discover the best of America's heartland when you join us on board the elegant Viking Mississippi. Unpack once and let us take care of the rest as you immerse yourself in the distinctive music, cuisine and history of this vibrant region. Reserve your Mississippi River voyage today with the free airfare and your choice of bonus savings on select 2026 and 2027 departures. For more information and booking, call 434-258-9264 or email chillie@bookalaska.net. Carnival guests who enjoy a morning bagel will be excited as the new Bagels at Sea bar is expanding to more ships. Already on 7 Carnival cruise ships, the breakfast sandwiches should be on board the entire fun ship fleet in the next 6 weeks. The former Costa Magica, which once sailed under Carnival's Costa Cruises brand, has a new owner. She has been sold to Tianjin Orient International Cruises to expand cruising out of Tianjin, China. Repairs and refurbishments before debuting to Chinese clientele in summer of 2026. Guests booked to sail on the 2026 Regal Princess voyage to the Caribbean will have to rethink some of their shore experience plans after the line revealed 2 major itinerary changes. Princess Cruises is swapping out 2 port calls on the cruise. Regal Princess will visit Puerto Rico and Saint Martin rather than Amber Cove and Grand Turk cruise. The cruise line attributes the change to enhancing the guest experience. Royal Caribbean International has changed the itinerary of the current cruise of the Brilliance of the Seas. She will now sail to the Dominican. The change affects a 7-night cruise to the Southern Caribbean that departed from Puerto Rico on Sunday. The Federal Aviation Administration has ended all restrictions on commercial flights at 40 major U.S. airports that had been imposed concerns amid the longest government shutdown in history. The FAA said its flight reduction emergency order would be lifted at 6 a.m. Eastern Time on Monday, and normal operations could resume. The agency also removed restrictions on space launches and general aviation flights at 12 airports. A federal jury found Malaysian national, Leong, 67, guilty for sexually abusing a minor during a Royal Caribbean cruise. The incident took place earlier this year on the Icon of the Seas during the ship's March 29 through April 5 voyage from Miami. The boys told their parents about the incident and who then alerted the ship's security. The ship's surveillance system captured the incident. The ship's security interviewed Ong, who claimed he was playing with the boys and only touched the child's stomach. Ong will be sentenced on January 21, 2026 in Miami federal court. He faces a maximum of life in prison and will be subject to deportation following his sentence. Federal police in Germany arrested a 37-year-old passenger aboard the Queen Mary II on Monday after discovering an outstanding arrest warrant during an exit check at the Bremerhaven container terminal. The woman, who was preparing to embark on a cruise to Southampton, was flagged by officers when her information matched a warrant issued by the Wiesbaden Public Prosecutor's Office, authorities said Tuesday. She was wanted for an unpaid fine related to a theft case. According to the Federal Police Inspectorate in Bremen, the traveler owed €2,160 in penalties and an additional €84.50 in court fees. Without payment, she faced a 27-day prison sentence. The woman settled the full amount on the spot. After paying, she was cleared to board the Queen Mary II and continue her trip.
I wonder if that would have happened if it had happened in this country. If you had a warrant out for you for what would be an equivalent theft or fraud, and they caught you in port or caught you on the ship and took you back to the port, however it came down, You pay your fine right there and they let you go? I don't think so. I'm glad they did in Germany for that person, but anyway, I found that funny, but because I don't see it happening in the States.
Why wait until Black Friday to get the best deals on mobility equipment? Don't miss the biggest discounts of the year from Scootaround. Get huge savings on mobility scooters, power chairs, wheelchairs, rollators, accessories, and more site-wide until December 1st. Use code BF20 to get 20% off. Call 1-844-664-7467. Use SRN 11137.
All right, everybody, that puts an official end to the news portion of today's show. Let's jump over in the chat room and see if anybody's fussing at me today. I mentioned that Hot Air Tom is with us. Let's see. He says the submarine excursion's at 2 p.m. today. We're in port from 10 a.m. Yeah, I knew that they had not landed this morning when he was at breakfast. And I checked on that and I say, oh, well, they don't actually land in Aruba until 10 o'clock. So I can understand why his excursion would be this afternoon. So anyway, Tom's been on the submarines before and he generally takes some good film of it. I just hope whatever happened with his microphone, he figures that one out. So Tom, I hope you're still listening to cover your microphone next time you tape. Gretchen's with us, says, morning all. I assume it's sunny in Aruba. And Tom says, yes, sunny there. There's Kenneth up in Pennsylvania, says, good morning, everybody. Amy's with us, says, happy Wednesday. Gretchen says it's overcast up in Ohio. Hot Air says it's mid-80s. I know Ken will be needing some warmth. Yes, indeed. Bob is with us. Have a great day, Chillie. Thank you very much, Bob. Gretchen says mulling over November 26th, Venice to Rome, 10 days on Silver Nova, Silver Seas cruise. Wow, that would be interesting. That's another one of those, I call them high-end, but boutique type cruises. Kenneth says, I love Aruba, Tom. Are you going to the ABC Islands? Yes, he is. I can tell you that. Diet Coke has caffeine. That should count for today's item of the day. Oh, that's right. There's caffeine-free Diet Coke. And my Diet Coke does have caffeine. You're correct, Tom. Where was my brain this morning? I must have turned it off. That's right. I do take caffeine. Duh. I don't like caffeine-free Diet Coke. And yes, there's a different taste if you're a Diet Coke person. The video is from our seat in the grand dining room this morning, Allura's first visit, and the water cannons, yes. And we couldn't hear you talking, Tom. And the mini bar looks good. Yeah, I've never been on one, Gretchen, where you get to actually use them without paying for them. I think that's awesome. Kenneth says, Tom and Cindy, you better get started on the alcohol. Looks like you haven't done done too well so far. You need Chillie and I to help you finish those off. Yeah, they do okay, Kenneth. You'd be surprised. Cindy likes to have a cocktail. Tom, Tom and I have had some drinks together too, as well. Yeah, he doesn't drink like you and I do, Kenneth. I admit that. The dining That was the specialty dining was in Jacques, the French restaurant. Okay. That's right. Jacques. I couldn't remember that. Thank you, Tom. We ate at Pollo. I don't know if they pronounce it Pollo or Polo Grill last night. I had filet and lobster tail. Oops, forgot the pics. All right, we'll share the pics next time. It's definitely on lobster tail if it's worth looking at. So, no upcharges for the entree. That's awesome. Hot Air says I booked back to back on Oceana Vista, September to October 2027, boarding in Boston to Quebec, and then Quebec to Miami, with a number of new Canadian ports on the way, plus a stop in Bermuda on the way to Miami. Nice itinerary. Hot Air Tom. There's Todd. Todd says good morning to everybody. Hot Air says, love the status match perks. We get $1,250 onboard credit for each cruise, plus two $200 spa vouchers for each cruise, and a complimentary premier drink package, free laundry, free internet. Wow. That's a status match. Kenneth says, Tom, you have to send me that. I would love to go back to Bermuda and Quebec. Just let me know, Kenneth. I'll find it for you. I like that itinerary, Tom, but I can't leave for that long a time. I know, I agree. Hot Air says, sadly, I don't think Penny will be with us by then. She's having trouble getting up the steps at night. Wow, that's sad. Always sad. Gretchen says, sorry, Tom. I agree. Hey, Tom, did that cruise ship you're on now have a bowling alley? You better be practicing. Yeah, I don't think it does. Kenneth says, I'm starting to book my airline today. I booked my one coming back from Orlando to Erie. There's Joanne. Kenneth says, hey, Chillie, are you staying later once we get off the MSC Grandiosa in Orlando, or are you heading home? I don't know yet, Kenneth, because I don't know where I'm going to be, but probably I've got to head straight back. I'm just not sure which direction I'm going to be going. So that's yet to be determined. So I'm sorry, I can't plan that far ahead yet. Kenneth says, if you go to Bonaire, try to rent the golf cart, you and Cindy, and do the tour. It's awesome, like $100. Hot Air says, tours are booked via cruise with lots of OBC. We had $1,600 in excursion credit to use. Wow. Unbelievable. And Gretchen says, that sounds good too. Katie's with us. Hi, Katie. Been thinking about your sister. I know her thing got put off at least for a while yesterday, but I have been thinking you guys have been in my thoughts a lot, Katie. Package we're looking at gets $1,120 shore excursion credit. Well, those are nice for you guys that can get out on excursions without having to have a wheelchair accessible excursion. I wonder what they would do with somebody like me. Yeah, give me all that excursion and I can't take any excursions. That would suck. And Hot Air says no bowling alley on Oceania. There's Roger says hi from Jacksonville. Hi, Roger. Gretchen says she'd see Diet Coke in there for me too. I agree. And Katie says she did great and her arteries are clear. Thank goodness. I do appreciate that report, Katie. Been thinking about you guys a bunch, and I knew it got delayed for a while last night. So glad to hear that. That's great news. All right, guys. That's going to wrap me up for today. Hot Air Tom, have fun on the submarine later on today. And I'll look at Tom's. I don't know what I'm doing yet. I can't say, but I'll look at Tom's cruise as well. So anyway, Gretchen says great, Katie also. All right, guys. That's going to wrap me up for today. As usual, smash that thumbs up button. That'll help us out a bunch. Take this as my invitation to join us by subscribing. And if you have not subscribed already, click the bell notification so you'll be notified when I go live or when a new video is posted. All right, that's it for today. As always, stay safe, stay healthy, think about cruising, and hopefully one day soon we'll all get together on the high seas, maybe on an Oceania cruise. Who knows?
I regularly post videos on all facets of the travel and cruise industry, so if you like to keep up with the latest in cruise ships, ports of call, cruises themselves, Chillie chats, and travel and cruise industry news, just hit the little subscribe button in the lower right-hand corner, hit the bell notification so you'll be notified when a new video is up or we go live. This video was produced by Chillie's Cruises.